What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Zach, aka Rowdy Rough Boy, here with the list that I'm playing for the Ultimate Cup this weekend. It's a little different. I call it Lilith Box because it's a toolbox deck. It's not your traditional Lilith loop. There's a lot of cards in the format that I just feel were misplaced. Is probably the best word you could use for it. My lineup is pretty different, so we're gonna go ahead and just get right into it. So for the eggs, we play 4 Sunomon from Double Diamond. They're once per turn. When you trash a card from your hand, you draw one. The inheritable, as opposed to the Devimon inheritable, is what's important. I choose to be more proactive, right? Like I want to attack, trigger my effects when I attack, because when I'm attacking, I am progressively moving forward in a winning fashion. And I feel like against blue, if you get your source stripped, you lose so much value out of your explosiveness. And with the heavy amount of blue, I don't think it's worth it. And we move on to the rookies. We play 6. We play 2 Gazimon, the standard. Everybody plays memory blockers. And then we play the 4 starter deck Gabumon. This is also different from most lists. Again, it's a when attacking effect. So when we swing with our stack, we trigger the Gabumon to draw a card and trash a card. We thin one card of our deck, and then the Sunomon triggers and draw a card. And then you trigger all your other effects, like if you discard your stuff that does things. So this is why, this is the main reason that I chose to play this specific list, is that I get to swing and trigger my effects at the same time. Moving on to the level 4s, we play 14. So we play 2 King Kokumon. Specifically, we play you'll see later in the list, but we play a heavier count of this package because we want to see it more often and we want to have access to it more often. This is our removal. It's a very good source of removal. You can hard choke your opponent with a promote going over this, or your level 5 swinging. When you attack, you discard a card to pop a level 3. We play 2 Ginkakumon. His effect is once per turn. When you trash a card from your hand, gain a memory. That's really important with the level 5s that we play, and I guess some of the level 6s. Our top end is pretty discard reliant. Also, we want to see this card often because you want to see the full pieces. We were playing 1 and 2 King Kakumons, but we decided to up it to 2 because I feel like that's the correct number. And we played 2 Ginkakumon promote. I think 1 is bad. 1 is always bad in my mind. This card wins you games. If you have multiple in your hand, you win. You feel like you're unstoppable when you have these in your discard. Like a full line of this in your trash it generates so much value and so much free damage and tempo that I feel like anything less than 2 is criminal. I even think 2 is criminal, but the space is way too tight. If I could play a third, I would. He has Rush, and he Digivolves over champions for 1. Then we move on to Graceful Charity on legs, Eismon Scatter Mode, on deletion, draw 3, trash 2, standard, cards broken. Then we play 4 Eismon. For those who played Yu-Gi-Oh, this is beige. When it's discarded, you summon it, as long as you meet the requirement of having a scatter mode in your discard. And then a fact that isn't touched on enough is this guy can get gigantic. He can actually become a 13k beater, so you don't always have to Digivolve over him. But he's very good. Like, free bodies is important. And this is probably where we move on to another major difference, is the level 5s that we play. For 1, we play a lower count of our level 5s, where we are only playing 6 level 5, as opposed to other lists that play anywhere from 8 to 9. I've seen the occasional 7. We'll get to the point of why they're important and why I can play such a small amount and feel comfortable doing so. So to start off, we played 2 Lady Devimon. Filter is always good. 8k is a big body, and with a lot of hybrids running around, like Beowulfmons, you need to clear Beowulfmon off the board. So when this gets checked in security, you feel really good, as opposed to a Cerberusmon, which is 6k. And so now they've successfully done a damage and bounced a card, and their guy stays on board for another turn. And you don't have a lot of removal for level 5. So having the higher DP in life is important, and it comes up quite a lot. The inheritable to pop things like Madoki Betamons and Sayakomons when you're playing Lilith is also very important. And then the on Digivolve effect, you're basically seeing 3 cards, and then the cards that you trash, they trigger and do their own things. Lady Devimon is usually 2 to Digivolve because we pitch, the Nidhadmon or the Ginkakumon. We Digivolve over the Ginkaku, so when we discard, it becomes 1 less, so we gain the memory. That's why Lady Devimon is really good. I wanted to play 3, but with Ultimate Cup being best of 1, basically, like it is best of 3, but there's no side deck, so your list matters. I felt like these were the better options for that type of format. So 2 Lady Devi, We play 3 Rebellion. We need defense in the deck on legs. We need to be able to stunt what our opponent wants to try to do or force them to deal with this, or they just pass turn because he's a retaliation blocker. When you Digivolve him over level 4, you can trash a card, so you draw one and then you pitch a card from your hand to give him retaliation block. Again, if you pitch a card like a Nidhogg, he becomes 2. If you Digivolve over a Ginkaku, he becomes 2. If you have both, he costs you 1 to Digivolve over, and sometimes that can come up. He's also 7k, so he kills Beowulfmon. Jessmon doesn't kill him on swing. Agumon still does. But you can set up double blockers against decks like that, and they have to pick and choose, and usually they end up passing the turn anyway, and then you can kind of just try to win on the crackback. The last level 5 that we play is a Skull Greymon. He comes up quite a bit. There's probably 1 to 2 situations per game where you can swing into something gigantic with like your stack, right? Like let's say your scatter mode is on a Gabumon and your egg, like your perfect stack, which isn't very difficult to get. You swing at your opponent's Digimon, you trigger the Gabumon to draw 1 and discard 1. You discard the Skull Greymon, and then the Sunamon will draw you a card. So you've attacked, you've seen 2 cards, and then the Skull Greymon will trigger. He'll place himself underneath the stack, and you'll gain the trait of retaliation. So now you'll crash your 4K into like whatever card is giving you issues, and you'll kill it, and then it comes back to you, and you trigger all your effects. You've essentially just done nothing but value. You didn't waste anything. So that's why we play this. And also the effect of when attacking trash 1 comes up quite a bit, and 10k is pretty big. He's also a base 7k. So then we get on to the level 6s that we play here. We are playing 7. Most of the traditional lists are 3 Lilithmon, 2 Nidhoggmon, and a Mastamon. I chose to play 2 Lilithmon because I think 3 is too much. I see this card enough when I want to see it, and the flexibility of playing the other level 6s that we're playing, I feel like it's justifiable. And usually you can get double Lilithmon out still because you draw through your whole deck fairly quickly. And then we play 2 Titamon. Titamon is very good. It catches yellow players off guard. They play Holy Wave, and for those of you who don't know what Titamon does, on Digivolve, you can trash 1 card from your hand to summon a level 4 from your trash, level 4 lower. So you can discard your card, gain your discard effects like traditional to summon a guy. Once per turn, when you trash a card from your hand, so when you Digivolve, this Digimon gains plus 2k DP and security attack plus 1. The security attack plus 1 cancels out the Holy Wave, so you're still able to push damage through with Titamon. And you have ways to recycle Titamon, and with enough memory, if you play properly, you can get 2 to 3 Titamon swings off in a turn and close out the game through Holy Wave. Also, he costs 4 to Digivolve, and it's pretty hefty, but again, this goes back to the high King Kokumon line that we play, like the promote line. So essentially we can discard a promote if we don't have it in trash already, or whichever piece we don't have in trash, to summon the promote. The promote will trigger, adding the 2 pieces, you'll gain a memory, you'll draw a card. So now he's essentially cost you 3. If you already have the set in the grave, you can pitch a Nidhogg, summon him, so now he essentially costs you 2. And then you can also win rate to make him cost free. And if you Digivolve over the Ginkakumon, he potentially costs you 1. So it's not as heavy as people seem. And 14k is actually very big. It gets over every card in blue. It gets over every card in yellow that isn't buffed and that isn't named Susanamon. It gets over every card in red except for Agumon. And it gets over every card in purple because he's 14k. So even if you check into a Titamon, he still kills Titamon. And I think it's just a good way to end the game. If your opponent's at 2 life, you can kind of catch them off guard, Digivolve into this, summon the promote, swing for 2 damage, and then swing with Rush. So that's why we chose to play the Titamon over the Mastamon. And in order, I know I say Nidhogg a lot. Nidhogg, it's because I love this card, and we play 3 of it. It's the utility that you want. It costs 3 to Digivolve. You trash a card on Digivolve, so it goes with the theme. And then you get to blow up a level 4, so it helps you try to kill, like, Betamons, Pokomons, Sayakumon, whatever's giving you trouble. And also when he's discarded, you gain a memory. And again, we have option cards that allow us to cycle him back. So that's why we play a heavy Nidhogg line. And moving on to the Zwart, which I guess is technically a tech, because we do not rely on getting to the Zwart. We kind of rely on tempo and using the cards we need when we need them. Plus, we usually will see him anyway. We only never see this card if it's in our security. And if it's in our security, it's never going to do its job because they're going to swing with something that's 16k and it's not going to matter anyway. It happens all the time. But you don't need him to win. So he's a tech card. But when you do draw this card, if you ever play Dragon Ball, it feels kind of just, this is your SCR. Basically, you resolve this and you win the game. You feel like there's nothing your opponent can do. So that's why we still play the 1. Then we move on to the option cards. Obviously, we play 4 Jack Raid. This card is absolutely correct. You can activate the card, gain 0 memory because you don't have enough cards in trash, and then still gain 2 memory with Lilithmon. That's a pretty cool thing. When it's checked, you gain 2, and I mean, it's abusable. You Lilithmon this back, you can double Jack Raid, Digital Lilith, add double Jack Raid back, activate Jack Raid, gain 3, potentially 4, 5 if you're that far into the game, which happens quite often. This card is just your extender and bread and butter of the deck. That's why we play 4. We play 1 Underworld's Call. I wish I could play more of this. Upstart Goblin is broken. When it's trashed, you draw a card. And this also happens quite often off of Lilith. You can activate this for 2, summon a promote line, gaining a memory drawing a card. So this essentially costs you 1 to deal a damage. And if you have the full line, you swing, you trash another card, trigger the King Kokumon. So this is free. You did a free damage. And then you can do it again when you recycle this card, and it would cost you 2. It's a very, very good card. It comes up, the security effect summons a guy. You can, if your opponent is at 0 and they swing, they hit this, you can summon a promote line, go back to your turn. There's a lot of applications. We play 3 Calling because we go through our cards a lot, and we have enough removal with Lady Devimon and 2 King Kokumons that we can play a lower copy of Deathclaw. Adding cards back to our hand is very good. Trashing our Eismon to add back, trashing our Scattermon to add back an Eismon, or double Nidhoggmon. Again, you can recycle this with Lilith. Like, you can actually just loop Lilith plus this over and over again. Then we play 2 Deathclaw. You still have to play it. Kill your guy, kill something else on their board that's level 4. The pesky things that you don't want to deal with. When it checks in security, you kill their thing. We play 2 Win Rate. This is big. A lot of people only play 1. Originally, we didn't want to play any. But now that we play Titamon, he also costs 4, so this makes Titamon free as well. So from 2 memory, you can basically go into Titamon or Zwart. Zwart a little more tricky. Zwart basically 4 memory, but Win Rate's cracked. You play this card. We play 1 Mat, and we play 3 Analog. So most lists play 4 Analog and no Mat. But I found out that because we go through our stuff very quick, because we are very proactive, sometimes you have to discard cards that aren't optimal. And so being able to play Mat to add it back to reuse it later, like you might have to discard a Calling, but you could play Mat, get back your Calling, and then activate your Calling to trigger its effect later, and then loop the Calling back again. So Mat has a lot of things. And if Mat's ever checked out of your security, you feel very strong, because when you're at 3, you always threaten a Lilith, you always threaten big plays. The Analogs, they help you get there. They help choke your opponent. They help you get the pieces you need. Being able to pop off your own stuff to fill your grave to 30 for 1 memory and then tap 3 of these to technically gain 2, that's not fair. And that's why we play this deck, because it's not fair. Purple is an unfair color, and it does unfair things. So some quick pros and cons to playing this list as opposed to the other tried and true lists is this is very thought out. You will have a massive headache. Like, that is a huge con. Your mental needs to be on point to play this deck, because there's a lot of interactions that aren't as clear as other options in Lilith decks. However, you do get the plus side is you get the option to be more aggressive, to be more proactive, and still resolve your effects, so you don't really worry about what your opponent's doing. You get to play your game more, and I feel like going into a major event like that's huge. That's key. There is quite a bit of combos, but we'll save that for another video. Let us know what you think. If you would like to see combos, if you would like to see explanation about how you play certain matchups, be on the lookout for the next one coming up. That's when I'm going to go over my tournament report for the Ultimate Cup, give you all the inside information that you need, how I feel like you need to play the deck, the combos that will help you get there, the amount of just sheer ridiculousness that you can do by the amount of pure cards you get to draw, the advantage. I'll physically go over the card combos on screen and show you guys how it goes. Until next time, though, enjoy, have fun, keep the vibes chill. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one.